Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live with Krista. That's me. And today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing top Canadian touring and session drummer and clinician, the incredibly talented Paul DeLong. He's known for his multi-platinum success with Canadian rock artist Kim Mitchell. He's a teacher, an author, and more. And I could go on and on, but I think we'll just ask him some questions and get some answers. How are you, Paul?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Thanks for joining. I have been watching you in awe on stage for many years, watching you with Pretzel Logic. And, you know, every time I get the chance to see you with and hear you with Kim Mitchell, I'm always, you know, hearing you on the radio going, that's him. So it's a thrill for me to get to interview you and have a chat with you, because usually it's just sort of a, hey, how's it going, when we're all running around in the bar getting to watch the show or the festivals. So, so on with my questions.
Yeah.
My first question for you is, was being a professional drummer something that you had always aspired to, or was there something different when you were a kid that you thought maybe you would be?
Well, it's funny because I was a nerd kid, and I was really, really good in school, and I was very mechanically inclined, and so I should have probably been an engineer or an architect or something, but something other. But once I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and saw Ringo, then that was it, you know. But I didn't. So I had the bug then, and I just loved drumming and music and everything. But my grades were still okay. But it wasn't. I didn't feel destined to be a professional drummer. What I wanted to do was be a recording engineer. And so I went to my guidance counselor in grade 12 or 13, I don't know when it was. And I said, I want to be a recording engineer. Well, he didn't know what that was. And there was no schools for it, really. And what there was Ryerson had a radio and television arts course. So I was going to look into that. But then I got out of high school, and I started playing in bands, playing professionally, and things started going okay. And I just kind of ended up doing that, you know, playing, and, you know, I loved it. And so it kind of grew from there. And yeah, so it wasn't really a clear-cut thing of, oh yes, I'm going to be a professional drummer. I kind of slid into it, but then once I was in, that was it, you know.
Right. And was there a key moment that made you say, all right, this is it, this is for me, this is what I'm doing?
I don't know. I think it's funny because, like, yeah, once I joined the union, I don't know what that had to do with anything, but and started doing gigs, and I must have been like maybe just starting to do concerts. It's funny. I got out of high school, and immediately I got this job with this crazy Japanese band called the Flower Traveling Band, and they were from Japan. Lighthouse brought them over here, and because they had opened for Lighthouse at Expo 70 in Japan. So they came over, and their drummer got tuberculosis. So all of a sudden they needed a drummer. And I was 18, I think, or 19, 18, I don't know. And I auditioned, and I got the gig, and I moved out from my parents' place, and I got a room in a rooming house, $17 a week. And all of a sudden we played the C&E Bandshell, and we're playing, you know, London Centennial Hall, and playing concerts and stuff. And that might have been it, you know, like just getting a taste of actually playing concerts and people liking it and stuff, you know. So I think that, but then that all fell apart, and I was back living at home again, but I kept playing, you know, and it was, but I think that was a taste of what was to come, sort of, you know.
So with all those years of so many different experiences, and I know you teach, what is one of the things that you find yourself telling your students or aspiring musicians and drummers?
Well, I think I was thinking about that, you know, and I think the thing is, to have a great work ethic is so important. And you've got to take care of business. You got to show up on time. You got to be prepared. You have done your homework and you're ready to go. And if you're auditioning, you've learned the songs that you need to learn, and you got a great attitude, and you're ready to you show confidence, and you count the tunes in with confidence. And I think that work ethic my mother gave me, and I've always done my, like that Flower Traveling Band thing. I did my homework. I learned the tunes, and when I went down to audition, I had it down. So when I subbed in on my first musical doing Tommy, I rehearsed it for a month every day in my basement, and like I would never go to anything unprepared. I would never go to a lesson unprepared. So that stood me well my whole life, and I always had a pencil. It's very important to have a pencil if you're reading charts. You wouldn't be. I get pissed off at in sessions where somebody will say, "Hey, Paul, you got a pencil?" I want to say, "Are you professional? Well, you should have a pencil. You should have your own
Right.
pencil." So
Or your clothes pegs when you're on an outdoor gig.
exactly. No, this is a shit. I carry outdoor gig. I carry plexiglass, and put it on the stand. Make sure I got everything. So that, I think that's it. I mean, there's so many other things, but if you work hard at your craft, and people get the idea, yeah, this is a guy we can trust, you're going to work. And the word will get around. Yeah, this is a guy we can trust. So he'll do a good
Exactly.
job. He'll always take care of business. So I think that's number one.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's key. And it makes everybody else feel comfortable on stage when they know that you're prepared. And then you get to
Yeah.
actually enjoy yourself rather
Hmm.
than worrying about what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
that's great advice. Great advice. Is there any advice that you would give for singers? Because to me, it really is, it can really make a difference when, when you're connecting with the drummer, when you're playing, and they're really watching even what you're doing, every move. So what do you think? Or is there something you wish singers knew more that when they're new? Because for me, I had no idea when I came in. I just, and I don't read music. I just came in and sang and did what I did. So, what would you say?
Oh, well, I mean, I love singers who have a good rhythmic sense and sing in time, and um, really listen to the groove and sing in the groove, and because I know singers that they seem oblivious to what the tempo is, and they're way behind, and it makes me crazy. Like I know there's back phrasing. I don't like it. I just want somebody to sing it down the middle. I don't want to hear crazy back phrasing. It makes me nuts. So yeah, and I really listen to the singer. I get so much from listening to how they're phrasing, and when I'm recording, I'm always, I want to know the lyrics. I want to know where they're going with it, and I will catch some things, and
Wow.
that's a real thing to me, is to yeah, just to really zone in on that more. I have the always, like when I'm recording at home, I always have the vocals way up. Some people turn that way down to concentrate on everything else, but for me, concentrate on the vocal is really, really where I get inspired a lot, and get the feeling of the tune and the whole vibe of it. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So, and I think I just based that on listening to Steve Gadd, and what the kind of thing he did with Ricky Lee Jones, for instance. It's so sensitive to what she was doing, what she was singing, and he just played the right thing always. And a lot of Steely Dan stuff too. Same thing. The drumming, like Gaucho, prime example. Gaucho, Jeff Porcaro, he catches all this stuff in the vocal in a beautiful way, in a grooving way, wonderful way, and it's just that's like that really stuck in my mind, that how cool that is. And so I love that. So
Impressive to
uh,
know the lyrics too.
mhm. Like uh, I used to have a Steely Dan ensemble at Humber, and I remember we were doing Deacon Blues, right? And this is a very sad, morose sort of song. Like the vibe is die behind the wheel, learn to work the saxophone and all this. It's a sad. It's got a sad vibe to it, and and I remember the singer. he's singing it. The whole band, like they're playing this tune, and the singer's singing with a big smile on his face, and they're all playing like kind of peppy, and it's like, you guys, you don't get what this song is about. You gotta get into the lyrics and get into feeling what the feeling of this tune is, and because yeah, there shouldn't be any smiling in that tune.
Definitely not. It's
So
true. Well, but I think that's great as a teacher to point those things out, because you just, I think people, they need to feel the song. So they're very fortunate to have had that advice. Now, how did the Kim Mitchell thing happen for you?
oh, that's a good one. Okay, so I was playing with Dominic Triano in would have been 1979 or 80, and we opened up for Max Webster in London, I think it was. And I don't know, Kim was at the side of the stage. He was watching, and he liked my playing. And then I'd see him in clubs when I was playing with various people. He'd be in the club checking me out. So then when Max Webster broke up, he took a year off and he just wrote tunes. And then he called me up out of the blue and he said, "Hey, you want to play? Yeah, you want to get together and we'll talk and play and stuff." And so I said, "Okay, great." So he came and picked me up in his van, what he used to call the brown slum finder, and I thought we were going to go to a rehearsal studio and play, but we went to United Media recording studio and we recorded 4 tunes, like right. That's the first thing we did, and 2 of those tunes were tunes that were on the mini album, Kids in Action and Chain of Events, and boy, that stuff sounded great. And he just recently told me that he's got the 2-inch tape of that, and he wants to digitize it. They have to bake it in the oven or something to do, or else the tape disintegrates or something. But yeah, I'm dying to hear that stuff. But that was the best thing we ever recorded. But it was just the 2 of us, and the engineer played bass. And so Kim and I hit it off right away, like musically. And I remember him playing me the demos of all the tunes that were on the next 2 albums. He had written them: Go for Soda, All We Are, all those tunes. And all it was him singing, playing guitar with a metronome. And it,
Wow.
that it was, those tunes were so great. And so then I dragged in Bob Wilson, that I had played with Dominic Triano and Dave Bendith and various things. I dragged Bob into the Kim Mitchell band, and he got Peter Fredette. I don't know how he ended up doing it. He was singing on the album, and then he's a bass player, but he ended up playing guitar and singing. I don't know, but anyway, that band got put together, and the rest is history. But yeah, so that's how. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
how.
great.
Yeah,
And
it
what's
was
your
cool.
favorite song out of, I mean, it's always that question. What's your favorite song? I have a million favorite songs, but is there one song from the concerts that you love doing?
From Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah, All We Are, definitely. And I just love that tune. And it's funny, I got to play with Kim in 2019. I did 2 gigs with him. He said, "Hey, Paul, you want to come and play?" And because the regular drummer, he had to do something else. It was great. It was just fantastic. And that tune, All We Are, when we played it, Kim, in the end, he solos. Well, we kept going and going and going. It was like, I was getting chills. I was just like, man, it was just the best. It was so cool. So I'm glad I got to do that again after 30 years. It was fantastic.
For sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So being an author and a teacher, you do tributes, you do writing, recording, television, session work. What would you say is out of all those things, I'm sure it's hard to pick, but what really gives you sort of the most joy and happiness?
I think playing live with my band, my fusion band, and because we play music that I love, the music I love the most from the Mahavishnu Orchestra, jazz fusion thing, and it's the most challenging thing I do, most physically demanding, mentally demanding. So I think that's my favorite thing. But I love all the things I do, the tribute things I do, and I don't do anything that I don't like anymore. I used to take every gig that came along, and some of them were deadly, and I do weddings and all kinds of gigs that I didn't want to do, but I did it for the money. But at some point in my life, I think when I hit 60, I went, well, this is stupid. You might as well just do stuff you like. So that's what I do, or that's what I did until the pandemic hit. But I hope to get back to it. But yeah, so I really like everything I do.
You know, I look at the things I've learned, even that you've talked about over the pandemic with Degrassi Junior High. Tell me about who
Oh
would
my
have
God.
known?
What an experience that was. Oh my God. Okay. I remember going the first day. I was really nervous because I had never done anything like that before. And the people, there was a husband and wife that wrote the music. It was very simple rock music for the most part. And they wrote the music. So I get there the first day, and the woman hands me my chart for the first tune, or take a first, what do you call that? You know, when it's just little segments. That's what it was. We recorded
Right.
little 10-second, 15-second segments. So she sends me the first one, or gives me the first one, and I look at the page, and it has a quarter note and then a bunch of dots after it. And I go, and I go over to her and I say, what does this mean? And she says, well, you know, that thing that you drummers do, you know. And I went, and then it's on the music stand, and they're saying, okay, everybody ready? And they start the click, and I count it in, and I don't know. I just start playing hi-hat and trying to figure out what was going to happen, and so that's the way it was. Like very little information, which is totally opposite of most of those things where they want every single little note. Like theater, where all the everything's charted out. So I had to get my interpretation skills together, which I did, and then it got to be normal, and I just knew, okay, I'm just going to, we'll listen to this, and I'll figure it out as I go here. But that first day was, oh man, that was scary, but that was good experience. It's all good experience, you know. But
yeah, that was crazy. Thrilling. I liked hearing that.
Are all those shows on somewhere, or do you have a DVD set?
They're on YouTube. I think there's also a Degrassi channel on YouTube where you can go and see them. And then there's also just random ones that you can find.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't thought about that for years. That'd be cool.
That'd be fun to watch. Yeah, so speaking about where to find things, where can people find you and learn more about you and find out when your next shows are?
Well, they could go to my website, which is www.pauldelong.com. I have a YouTube channel, which is Great GS52 is my name on YouTube. Great GS52, which stands for Great Gretsch Sound 52. 52 is the year I was born.
I see.
And also I have an Instagram page, which is also Great GS52. I have a Instagram page called Paul DeLong's One Word, which is all one word, Paul DeLong's One Word on Instagram.
Oh, great. And you can get your books too on your site.
On my website, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this and coming on to my show. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and hopefully we can see you out over the summer. We'll get to come out to some shows, and
that'd be great. Yeah.
Keep posting so we know.
And I will for sure. I've got to get my website once I got some dates coming in. The events part of my website has been down, obviously, so I got to actually start filling some stuff in again. So I will do that too. But I always announce all this stuff on Facebook as well. So
yeah, you're great about that.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Have a good day.
You too.